What's up guys, Jim Collector here, back again with another video, and today we are checking out the one and the only Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is the figure that I'm really excited to get into. Absolutely love this character, from the books to Rebels and of course to the Ahsoka show. So guys, without further ado, let's get stuck right into the unboxing.
Alright then, so here we have the box, and sadly mine is a little bit damaged, but hey ho, we don't buy these figures just for the boxes. So it is your standard Star Wars box, nothing special here. You got a picture of Thrawn on the side, the normal information on the back, and then this kind of wraparound card doohickey that you see on a lot of these Star Wars releases. So we'll flip this on off, and that unveils some really nice internal art. And this is one of my favorite things about unboxing these figures. It is these awesome slip covers here, because that is some spicy artwork. That's really nice, and I believe that is a figure as well. Obviously we've got Enoch and some of the troopers that will be coming out in the near future, but that looks really nice. And there we have the first look at Thrawn himself, and he is looking pretty spectacular, I won't lie. We have this underneath here, which is part of the diorama setup that we'll use with that. That actually looks quite nice. Let's have a quick little ganders at this to see what we think. There we go. It's a plastic, it's like a clear kind of see-through plastic, but it looks quite nice, I won't lie. It's nicely detailed, nicely done, and it does have that kind of hologram effect. Obviously you can see through it, so we'll see how that looks on display later, or if this is something that we'll just end up keeping in the box. Alright, so there we go. That is Thrawn, and he is looking absolutely spectacular. Let's have a quick look at him. God, this bright white suit is making me nervous. I don't want to get any marks or anything on this at all. There we go. That is our first look at Thrawn, and he is looking mighty spectacular, if I do say so myself. But guys, before we do the detail walkthrough on the figure, let's have a look at the accessory. So of course you do get this detailed, I was going to say diorama hologram here of his Star Destroyer, which looks really nice actually. I'm not going to lie, this is a nice sized piece and it's made pretty well. Interesting that you have this bit on the bottom which you'll have to take off to display. I've never seen that before. 3M Electronics. Interesting. There we go, that looks really nice. We also get his blaster. If I can get this out. I always find these a pain to get out of here. So there we go, we have his blaster, which looks nicely detailed. Good bit of paintwork on here, a bit of weathering as well, but it is pretty clean. Actually, I'd go say on the hilt here, it's pretty standard. There's nothing too spectacular about this. Not a lot of paint apps on here at all. The paint apps is mainly on the silver metallic bits at the top, which are nicely done, but the grip and such is pretty basic, I won't lie. You do get this series of hands which are quite awesome, nicely painted as well. I do like that there's some good differentiation between the fingernails and the actual the skin tone as well. That's good to see. They don't always do that, and sometimes the fingernails are hard to kind of point out. It does kind of look like he's wearing nail varnish, but you know, it fits the character, so it works really well. But they are nicely painted. You've got a good bit of wrinkling on the knuckles as well, making these hands look nice and realistic. We're about almost done with the accessories. He doesn't come with much else. He does come with this plate again, though. This is nicely done. This is much nicer painted than his blaster. This has nice dry brushing. You can see it has a sheen to it. Really nice paintwork as well. And you can actually, well, you can't read it because it's in an alien language, but you can see the print in here as well, which is nice. And it's even fully detailed on the back. Beyond this, we have this little bit for his moving eyes, and we also have the base for the stand as well, which we'll have a look at in the posing section, a little bit more detailed. Right, so these are actually quite difficult to get out of the box, I won't lie. So these are his code cylinders. I'm not going to lie, I had to double check what these actually were, but these essentially slip into his uniform. If I'm being honest, they look like pens, so they just kind of go into his shoulder lapel. There is a slot right in his shoulder, and they just kind of slide on in there like so, as part of his uniform as well. So you get 2 for each side, and that just kind of frames his shoulders. Alright, and here is Thrawn in all of his glory, and let's check out that head sculpt, which I think they did an absolutely stellar job on. This looks exactly like Thrawn from the Ahsoka TV show, and I really like how they pulled off the hair on this. It looks nice and realistic, and also all the skin texture. They're getting really good at texture of skin, and Hot Toys have always been quite good at making aliens, especially likeness to aliens, so this is no exception. Now he does have moving eyes, which is really cool to see. We just pop that off. Here you can see it does have a moving eye system in the back of the head here, so you can just access those eyes and move them all around. Now I do have a couple of QC issues on mine. The first thing is his eyes, although they do work, they're very loose, so it's really easy for me to kind of move these around, especially this one right here. I barely have to adjust that, and it's just moving around all over the place. Now that doesn't matter, because once I've maneuvered it where I want, it does stay in that fixed position, but that's just something to be aware of. Hopefully that's just an issue with my piece. And I do have another QC issue, which I'll show you in a moment, but let's pop that head sculpt back on here, and let's talk about his suit. Now, there's not really too much to talk about because it is just a plain white suit, but there are a few details that I found quite interesting. Now, he does have a bit of, I'm not going to say battle damage, but a bit of wear and tear kind of on the suit. You can see it right here. There is a bit of damage here. Now, this is meant to be on the figure. I did check this. It's not just an issue that I have with mine. And a little bit on the shoulder up here as well. You don't really have it anywhere else on the suit, which is kind of interesting to see, but it is nicely tailored and nicely done. I like the metallic sheen on his on this bit here, and as well on his shoulders. These are a nice color, and they pop off on the figure really nicely. In fact, the whole character design here is really nicely done. You do have a belt, which I am struggling to work out if it's pleather. It looks more like it's a type of rubber, but it could be a pleather fabric. I'll let someone tell me below. You can take it off just like so. It has a nice velcro, so it's quite easy to put back on, and it does move around on the figure. That just allows you to take off this plastic. I'm tempted to leave this on just so I don't get any paint transference onto the white suit, because I think that's why they've done it in shipping. Now let's talk about his poseability, because this is where I found out my first QC issue. Obviously you get some movement through the neck, so you can do some good poses there. His arms are relatively mobile up to the side, and you get a good double bend on those elbows, so you can do a lot of gnarly poses from there. Now you also get a little bit of torso swivel and side to side movement and crunch, but a really tiny amount. The legs, you do get a bit of movement as well. You can bring them forward slightly. His limitations are in the suit here. It does pull on the fabric, and you do get a double bend on the knee, which is good as well. A little tiny bit of ankle movement, but not a lot. Now, the issue I had on mine is this leg right here. Now, it works fine. It's not actually broken. It gets a good bend. But what I've found is the component down here was loose, and I could just pop it out. In fact, I could take off the whole leg. Now, the good thing is it does fix, and I was able just to slide it back on, and now I have no issues moving that. Now, if that does happen on your figure, guys, do not despair, because I was able to fix it. You can just take off the boot like so, and then this bit in here, you can just pull that out and then just slide it back on. And I was able to fix mine, but I will say, on figures that we pay a good amount of money for, that really shouldn't be happening. Now, looking at his boots, they are this kind of, again, I want to say pleather. They're quite a thin feeling material, but they don't look like pleather we've seen in the past. But you might get some flaking if you don't look after these, so just kind of bear that in mind. Saying that, they are nicely done with some good stitch work throughout. In fact, that kind of convinces me that it definitely probably is pleather. Not really much tread on the bottoms at all, and a little bit more on the side. So guys, that is Thrawn. So what we're going to do now is we're going to whack him into some poses. I'm going to give my final thoughts.
And here we have Thrawn all posed up, and he is looking absolutely fantastic. I really like how this all works as a display piece. Now, the hologram itself is really nicely done. I have no complaints beyond the fact that I wish there was a light up function with it. Now, this is probably something that you can add yourself easily, but I do wish this came as part of the display in the box. Now, for the tablet accessory, it is an absolute beauty of an accessory, really. I actually like it a lot more than I thought. It's just so nicely made and it works well with the character. Now, Thrawn, being the character he is, you're not going to have him in very many dynamic poses, which is a good thing because that suit is a little bit tight and it does prevent you from doing too much pose-wise. Now, you can get the classic arms behind the body look, but that is kind of it. You're not going to get him doing too much else. Now, we have got him in this pose here, which is your classic kind of Thrawn thinking evil genius pose, but these joints are just very clearly on display for me, and I couldn't get the sleeves to cover up just because of the tightness of the suit. It just kind of made these a bit too glaringly obvious, which I thought kind of marred the figure and made it a little bit uglier than I would have liked. And that's a bit of a shame because it makes me not want to use this pose, for which you have two dedicated hands. And for pose number 3, we have a companion piece with a stormtrooper, and I just think this looks really good on display. I am tempted actually to display him like this. But guys, now, what do I think about this figure? So, in terms of a rating, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. It loses some points because of the QC issues that I had to deal with. I just should not be dealing with these kinds of things. I shouldn't have to reattach the leg. And actually, in the end, the eyes did fall out of the head sculpt, and I had to put them back in. And that's just ridiculous. But saying that, this is Thrawn in figure form, and we never thought we were going to get to see this because honestly, I didn't think he'd be in live action. So just having this guy on display is a massive win for me, and despite these issues, it is a really nicely put together figure. I mean, sure, he doesn't come with a lot of accessories, but then what really do we want Thrawn with? He's not going to be doing much. He isn't really, well, at least in Ahsoka, he's not very combative, so I think it works really well with this release. So guys, that wraps it up there. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you in a video soon.